Good morning, Bhante. Thank you very much. It was really enlightening listening to your thoughts of mindfulness. So, while reading about you, it said that you are a Qigong expert. So, would you like to tell us more about it?
Okay, thanks to again YouTube, you can see the Qigong video. Qigong originated in China, and Qigong means energy practice or energy exercise. Qi is the same word in India, it's called prana in India, because everything is energy, right? So Qigong, it's much simpler than Tai Chi because only the upper body moves. You don't have to worry about the feet. Because in Tai Chi, the feet are moving all the time. So it's a bit more complicated. But in Qigong, only the upper body moves. So you can say it's a form of dynamic mindfulness. You're moving with awareness, with mindfulness. And it's very simple. If you look at the Qigong video, just go to YouTube and Qigong with Bhante Kovida. 2 words, Chigong, Qigong with Bhante Kovida. Okay. And in between each exercise, we do the balancing Qigong. Just breathing in, breathing out. Very simple. Breathing in, palms up, breathing out, palms down. And it's a very good practice. It's so simple, but it helps us to stay in the present moment, and it helps us not to react to something which is unpleasant. Or, if somebody's trying to give you a hard time or they're criticizing you or being unpleasant, you just breathe in, breathe out. Very simple. Because one of the most radical teachings that the Buddha gave was when you see, just see. When you hear, just hear. Now, it sounds very simple, but it's not easy to practice because we're so conditioned to react. We're always reacting, judging, criticizing, liking, not liking, labeling, and so on. And of course, wanting, not wanting, and so on. Or sometimes there's craving, sometimes there's jealousy, when you compare yourself. So when the Buddha said, when you see, just see, when you hear, just hear, just staying calm. It's a very beneficial practice. Because when you do that, you're not reacting to the world. You're not reacting to people. So you stay calm, you stay clear. It's a very, very good practice. But it takes practice, of course, because we're so reactive. So that's a part of our conditioning, right? The conditioned mind. Just like when, the restrictions first came about, when the pandemic started last year, so many people just reacted to it and just, rebelled against it because people wanted their freedom. And that's why in Asia, the pandemic was handled much better because people are more cooperative. And they listen to the experts like this. So Qigong is not only good for health, general health, but it's good for releasing stress, emotional stress, frustration, anger, upset, and so on. And it's good for depression also. So as we said before, when we objectify these mental emotional states, then if your emotion is very strong, then this is where the Qigong comes in. Just like in India, you have a form of it. It's called laughing yoga. I'm sure you're aware of it, right? It's on YouTube too. So also in the Qigong movement, there's also a form of like laughing Qigong. And you feel so good, so positive afterwards. And after you do the Qigong, it's when you sit for a few minutes, it feels so good. because you're very relaxed, you're very calm, because you're able to release, stress, emotional stress, frustration, and so on. And at the same time, your mind is energized. You can feel the chi, the energy in your body, in your mind. And during the pandemic, a lot of people have benefited from doing qigong, especially when they're unable to go outside, even for exercise. Because as you know, some places were really strict, and the police were checking on everyone, and you're only allowed to go out for food shopping and also medicine shopping. So in some places, you're not even allowed to go walking or exercising. And you can imagine people, young children, it was very, very challenging. But, a lot of people were able to watch the video and to follow the movements and to, release the frustration, the anxiety, and so on. And then the hand movements, the dynamic meditation, you can also say it's a form of qigong, but it's sitting qigong.
That was very insightful. Thank you so much.
So, I have another question. So, when you're told about the labeling and being judgmental, this question arises in my mind that feeding yourself or the mind with positive thoughts, it helps a person to have a good mindfulness. If it's true, to what extent and how does it work?
Okay. As we said, normally the mind is always creating, or thoughts and images are always creating stories, right? Endless stories. Some of them can be pleasant, some of them can be unpleasant, especially unpleasant memories. And sometimes you have some drama, right? You're creating some drama in your mind, about some conflict with someone. So there's a very useful technique. It's called the noting. You're mentally noted. So when your mind is caught up in a story, or a drama, a worry, a fear, you say to yourself, just breathe mindfully, and you just say, it's only thinking, thinking, thinking. Only thinking, thinking, thinking. And you come back to mindful breathing, in, out. Or if you're doing the hand movements, do the hand movements. And when you do that, it helps you to get out of the story of those thoughts and images. And you realize that it's only thinking. That's all. They're only thinking. It's not permanent reality. Because this is what happens. We're deluded by our mind-created stories and dramas and fears and worries and frustrations. We think it's real, right? It's like when you're watching a movie and you get caught up in the movie. The characters, you really think it's real, and you experience all the emotions. But only at the end of the movie or the TV show, you realize, oh my God, it's just a movie. It's just a TV show. So in the same way, we use this mindfulness, this noting, only thinking, thinking, thinking. You can try it yourself. Very useful. So that is one of the practices. And as you said, if you cannot get rid of thoughts completely, because that takes practice, you can do the loving kindness meditation. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May I be free from fear, conflict, and delusion. May my family and friends be well, happy, and peaceful. May they be free from fear, conflict, and delusion. May all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May all beings be free from fear, conflict, and delusion. There are some people who do the chanting, mantra chanting, or to sing a song. That's also good. Because sometimes when I conduct retreats, I do mantra chanting like Om, because it's very simple. It's very energizing. Om, you just focus. Om. And the other one I like to do It's from the profound teaching of the Heart Sutra on emptiness. And he goes, Gatte, Gatte, Para, Gatte, Parasamgatte, Bodhisvaha. Gatte, Gatte, Para, Gatte, Parasamgatte, Bodhisvaha. And you do that mindfully. And it's, as you see, very simple. So it's a way of focusing the mind when you're having negative thoughts. Because really, most of our suffering comes from negative thinking. And when we're feeling guilty, as you know, this is a universal problem. People suffer a great deal from guilt, self-blame. I'm so terrible, I'm awful, I'm so stupid. Why did I do this? Why did I say that? I should have done that. I should have done this, etc., etc. So when we make mistakes, it's important that we forgive ourselves for being human, because we're not perfect. And everyone makes mistakes, everyone. So you can say it is perfectly natural to make mistakes. And this is where the loving kindness practice comes in, because you replace those negative judgmental thoughts with kind, positive thoughts. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May I be free from fear, conflict, and delusion. May all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May all beings be free from fear, conflict, and delusion. Because guilt is an aspect of fear, because of the negative thoughts and the negative image that you create about yourself. I'm so terrible, I'm awful, I'm stupid, or I'm not good enough, etc., etc. A very, very useful practice.
Thank you so much. That was really so knowledgeable. And I'm sure to make it a practice. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi again, Bhante. My
Yes.
question would be, what would be your suggestion when dealing with fear, anxiety, desire, frustration, loneliness, and sadness?
Again, what we said, first, you breathe mindfully and you objectify those mental states. There is sadness, there's fear, not I am afraid. You see that? It's a good practice to learn how to objectify things throughout it. Even desire. There's desire, there's a state of desire. Instead of, I want this, or I want that, or I don't want that. Or I wish I could, get this. There is desire. So you don't judge. You're not judging that mental state. You just see it as it is. And it is impermanent. It's only a changing condition of the mind. It's very important to remind yourself that it is impermanent. Because when our emotions are very strong, it feels permanent, doesn't it? You think you're going to be upset for the rest of your life, or you think you're going to be sad or depressed for the rest of your life. But of course, it's not true. Things change because we're this process, as we said, the process of body and mind. And of course, if the emotions are strong, then we can do something physical like Qigong. Qigong I would recommend. Because as you know, it's not easy to sit with strong emotions, right? Like, being upset, being very frustrated, being very angry, or being depressed, or being very depressed. So this is, I really recommend the dynamic forms of mindfulness. Hand movements, the Qigong. If people are into running, you can also do running or swimming. Of course, now in the pandemic, you can't go swimming, right? But you can go running like this. So you dissipate the energy of that mental emotional state. Very important. So this is how we learn to deal skillfully with these the mental emotional state.
Yeah, I think they uplifted the swimming pool now so that we can swim.
Good, good.
This has been a fantastic discussion. I'm really grateful that you are here with us for the discussion. We have learned a lot today. So, if you do have any question for us as student, when you are teaching to your student who practice mindfulness and meditation, like the question we ask ourselves when we practice.
The mindful breathing, do you find it difficult? Or sometimes it's okay and sometimes it's difficult?
Mm.
Just one question, because as you know, the mindful breathing can be difficult initially because of the wandering mind. The mind is always wandering. This is why, we call it the monkey mind, right? It's always jumping. So this is why I recommend doing the hand movements first, the dynamic meditation or Mahasati meditation. It's much easier. You start with your eyes open, and then you close your eyes and you keep the movement, you keep the awareness. And your mind becomes very focused, very calm. And it really helps to let go of compulsive thinking, negative thinking, unnecessary thinking, like this.
Yeah, that's very useful. I guess as a meditation practicer myself, I sometimes want to improve and wonder what question there I can ask myself to improve. So that's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Yes. And also, as we said, thoughts will always come. But you just keep letting it go. Only thinking, just keep letting it go. Be patient. Be patient with your practice. And don't try to control your mind. Don't try to achieve something. Just keep looking at it and you keep letting go. That's why patience is very important. And eventually the mind will become very calm, and believe it or not, thinking will actually stop by itself. And the mind becomes completely silent. And it's wonderful, wonderful. But when you do the hand movements first, it really helps as a start. And also, there's also mindful walking. Are you aware of mindful walking?
Mindful walking.
Yes. Have you heard of that? Walking meditation.
Not that I know of. Can you explain more?
It's very simple. And again, thanks to YouTube, you can just go to walking meditation. And you just walk very slowly, put your hands in front or behind, and you're aware of your feet moving and touching, just very calmly, slowly. And if you like, you can use, 1, 2, 1, 2, just to keep your mind focused. And if your mind wanders away, you bring it back. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's actually a very ancient practice that was done in the forest by the early forest monks. And it's interesting because normally we don't walk like this. Because normally when we're walking, we're just busy walking and we're just thinking about, where we're going or what we have to do or who we're going to meet and so on. But when you're doing walking meditation, mindful walking, you're not going anywhere special. You're walking just to be present. It's a very good practice. And of course, if the weather is nice, you can go outside.
That sounds like a very interesting practice.
Yes.
I can't help thinking, because we are talking about meditation practice a lot here. So refreshing on meditation practice. So when you reach the edge of perception, so what do we do?
Edge of perception means when we just how do you say, when you're caught in a state where you're not sure whether you're coming or going. We just sit and watch the mind. And what you'll see, the mind will change. Just see the changing nature of the mind. And also, whatever arises in the mind, don't be attached to it. Don't be attached to it. Just keep letting it go, letting it go. This is why you're training the mind to keep letting go, letting go. Come back to the present moment. This is the most important thing in practice, learning how to let go. Because the mind has that ability to cling, right? To cling to something.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because of thinking and memory. This is why somebody once said, happiness is having good health and a bad memory. The ability to let go, to forget something which is unpleasant. And we all have unpleasant memories, right? Or you have, as you said, you have regrets, you have guilt, and all these things. And every time you have this bad memory, unpleasant memory, emotions will come up. Even something that happened many years ago. It's just the nature of the mind. But when we practice, letting go, being in the present, we begin to see that unpleasant memories, although initially they seem so permanent, right? So solid, so important,
Mm-hmm.
so upsetting, but actually we begin to see that they're only thoughts and images that are happening now in the present moment. That's right. They're only thoughts and images that are happening in the present moment. Only thinking. And it's very liberating to realize that. So then those unpleasant memories don't have such a strong grip, such a strong hold on our consciousness. Because sadly, there are some people, they've had a very upsetting experience, something very negative, and they spend their whole lives until they die clinging to that, unpleasant, upsetting, negative memory, because they identify with it so strong, and they don't have any mindfulness practice. And it really distorts their perception, the way they see the world. They could be, in a very beautiful place. They have, really nice people around them, but the mind is so distorted by that negativity. It's very sad, but there are some people who go through life like this because there's no understanding about, meditation, training the mind. That's right. So the word the Buddha used was bhavana in the Pali language. And bhavana means to train the mind. To train the mind, because the untrained mind is very destructive. It's like a wild elephant. A wild elephant is very dangerous. But if you train an elephant, you can get the elephant to do good work, good things. It's a big difference. Any other questions?
Thank you very much, Bhante. This has been a fantastic discussion. I think we have come to the end of our discussion.
And as I said, you have my email address. Anyone is welcome to ask me anything. And anything personal, you can also ask me. Don't be shy.
For sure. Again, I thank you very much today, Bhante Kovida. We have learned a lot. So for the audience in front of this video, if you are watching this video, thank you for your time and watching. We hope this is beneficial. Thank you and see you soon.
Okay.